All right, so really happy for our fans, players that played here before. This is obviously, as you guys know, a huge game in this state, and it's hard for players or coaches really until you get here to understand that. Now, being in 5 of them, I understand that, but I think our players probably felt that early with so many new players to understand. Even though we told them a million times, records don't matter. It happens in these games. Weird things happen in these egg bowls, and it really doesn't matter that you happen to be, we were, I think, the number 1 passing team coming in. Well, that stuff doesn't mean anything. And the game kind of started that way. Give Levy credit. He had them ready to go. They did a good job offensively early, and he took risks, which is what you got to do as an underdog. So I respect that. Fake punt and another 4th down conversion for the touchdown, on the same drive, got him some momentum. Otherwise they only score 1 time the whole day. So happy hour guys finished, to, I guess, 16 nothing, I guess, to end the game. So, and we gave the explosive play down to the 1. I thought that was really neat, because so often, especially against tempo teams, they just run it in for our guys to make 4 plays in a row to stop them there, even though we were up 12. Could have just let them score, and I thought that was really, for me, that was a really cool memory for that to happen in this game. The game was probably different than a lot of people would have thought, but those guys came in and played 3 safeties deep, like a prevent defense. That it's hard to throw the ball in and make you run the ball, and so we did that. 51 carries, and only 24 pass attempts. So we just kind of had to probably look different to everybody, but we just had to play a little different style in order to win, and that's a little bit conservative, but at the same time too, we got no turnovers. We had no turnovers, they had 3, and that was a big difference in the game. So happy for our seniors. I guess that's 30, so 38 wins for the 4-year guys, 44 wins for the 5-year guys, and I think they left a mark here. There's actually masking tape up there when we had a speaker, Kevin Elko, that was close with my dad, and actually did my dad's funeral, and he put masking tape up there because he talked about masking tape leaves behind when you go to pull it off. It leaves a mark, it leaves a legacy. And, I really just noticed that again this week when I was talking about these seniors and these guys that were here, that they left a legacy. I know this, screwed up last week, so take off the focus of that and look at the whole product of what they've done. They came here the 4 previous seasons. I think it averaged 5 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins, 5 wins, and they came here not knowing whether Ole Miss was going to be great, and they were a huge part of this, run that, hopefully go win our postseason game and get to 10 wins, 3 of the last 4 years. So I'm really happy for those guys. I'm proud, and especially in a time that people don't stay, players don't stay, for these guys that stayed through this, even though their careers probably weren't exactly perfect as they had planned. I'm just really happy for those guys. And then the quarterback, he's awesome. I mean, if there's a way you want your son to be, that's what you want to have. Complete team player, doesn't care about stats, anything. And he could care less that, he threw for 143 yards today. You saw the way he ran, his emotion at the end of the game. Just tried to help keep it together, because he cares, man. He cares about this team. He cares about this university, and that didn't happen a lot in college football anymore, if you look around. So this guy's special. I hope people appreciate him. Yesterday became the all-time leader, passing Eli in the history of the school, and the most wins in the history of the school for a quarterback. So I'm sure there's appreciation, but I hope everybody has appreciation for what they watch with this guy and how he plays the game. And the guy's playing with a bad ankle the whole time too.
Questions?
You may have just answered my question right there, but we saw the video before you walked in here of you and Jackson and that embrace at the end. If you don't mind sharing, can you just walk us through kind of the emotions of that moment with him?
Yeah, it really wasn't a planned thing. I was just, I usually walk off pretty quick, and sometimes I think after those, like, that I don't necessarily stay in the moment enough, especially for guys that it's their kind of last time on a field, and so I just wanted to find him. And just tell him how much I appreciated him, and I didn't realize the camera was rolling because I didn't think they'd started the interview yet, and he just said he loved me and started crying, so that kind of got to me. So I was trying to be the coach and get him to stop crying. But that's who he is, man. That's a lost generation, whatever, in college football now. That guy's passion, that guy plays the way that, like, Tom Luke talks about this rivalry. The way he talks about how it used to be and how much Tom won't drive a maroon rental car. Will not. Won't step foot in one. Won't let anyone give him a ride in one. Like, that's how Jackson Dart plays the game, and so he's just really special. So I just wanted to go find him and tell him thanks.
Obviously brought up Jackson, but him and guys like JJ and Jared Ivey and Jordan Watkins, they all came here in that before the 2022 season, that transfer class. They played their last home game here today. Just what did that group specifically mean to the culture of this program?
A lot. Again, stayed through, and they helped bring other people in, and had some highs and lows, a lot of highs, and then really had the year we're kind of low, or whatever, we were 8-1, 9-1, whatever it was, or have Alabama here to go to 8-1 or something with the ball, and then we screw up after that, and then so it could have been the program sliding off, and they helped bring it back and go to 10 wins the next season, or 11 wins the next season. So it's just awesome. I think it's so much, it's such a better story in life when you don't just go somewhere and things are already going, you're just part of it, whether that's a corporation, a team, whatever, like, and you just plug and play and, like, okay, I'm here, and then they were winning championships before, and now I'm winning them. When you come where a place had been down and not been winning, and I said to these senior guys that have been here forever, they reminded me, of their Egg Bowl the year before we got here, the ending of that, and losing that, now to have turned the programs to where they're going into a game as a huge favorite in the Egg Bowl, and looking at going 9-3 and people upset at that. That's perspective of where it came in 5 years because of these guys. So I just think it's really special when you go do something that hasn't been done before somewhere.
Lane, coming into this game, you guys were less than a 10% chance of making a college football playoff. Now that you've won the game, what are your thoughts on this team's chances? Your opinion, if you had a chance to speak to the committee?
I don't know. I'm not going to really do that. And really, just watch the games tomorrow and see how that unfolds, and maybe then, but I don't know. I'm kind of was lost in this game and just making sure we won this game. On the radio show, really, my comments about the SEC, it's just, so I'm not going to politic for us, but the SEC is just different. It's different when you play. It's different when you go and play these places. You got to go play on the road, like those 3 upsets last week that are on senior day at 3 of, the hardest, probably 10 places in the country to play. Those other conferences might go the whole year not playing in a place like that. So it's just different.
Questions from media? Go ahead.
Lane, specifically on Jackson breaking Eli's record, you've had a part in that. I'm sure he'll say that you've had a part in that. I guess what does that mean? How impressive is that to you?
I've kind of stayed away from stats this year a lot, so probably haven't really figured that out, thought very much about that, breaking that record, because I really theme was to try to keep all these kind of high-profile, guys out of the stat worlds and playing for a team and playing for each other. So I really hadn't even thought about it till they played it on the, on the heard it on the loudspeakers or whatever. So it's really neat, really cool. Obviously a phenomenal player that he passed, but I don't give a whole lot to that because I'm sure I'd take Eli would probably tell you they didn't have tempo, so he'd probably say if they had tempo, then he wouldn't have passed his record. So Jackson gets more snaps probably.
We'll do Michael, we'll go with Tom.
Jackson played a little bit at USC when he was there, but did you know that he had that toughness and leadership when he got here? And I guess when did you realize he had those qualities?
We saw some of that in his high school film, the style that he played, and then really just get to know his parents. And I mean, like, usually awesome kids come from awesome parents, and whether that's how they play, mom runs marathons, and trains every day. Dad was a great defensive player, at Utah. So that personality's in there. But then you have this whole other side. I mean, they're here yesterday. They brought blankets that they brought from Utah, these really awesome blankets that they brought and hand delivered. Jackson's walking up the stairs with his parents, taking him to every single coach up here, just thanking him for helping Jackson. So they're just a really cool family. I'm fortunate to have met them.
After last week, Jackson said that he did not know how the team was going to respond. He had an idea of how they would respond. What, I guess, was this week like for you guys? What did you say? What did Jackson say to try to get the team rallied around to get his victory today?
Well, I think that game, he just showed leadership throughout the week. But that game gets hard in the defense that they're playing because we're not a great running team. So you got to be patient in that, and the quarterback's got to be patient. That defense with the three safeties, as it was going on in the game, like for those who've been in a long time, that's the defense Arkansas played against us when we threw like 7 turnovers, 6 interceptions. We'd come off being a great offense and a huge week against Alabama, and then all of a sudden they just, kept everybody back. So you got to be really patient at quarterback. You can't get frustrated. You can't try to make too many plays down the field, and you got to take vertical scrambles like he did today, and we had to run him some too against that defense. So he just did a great job of handling the situation.
Coach, another game where Trey didn't play, and of course, it being senior day, I'm sure it was a little hard for him. Just first, do you guys have an update on him and how he's going to be going forward with bowl game, and also how did he feel, not being able to play on his senior night?
Yeah, he was down. He's awesome competitor. To go back out there last week and then, the 1% chance you get hit on the exact spot of the injury. And this has just been a strange year. So obviously wish we were better than 9-3. But a lot of strange things happened this year. You got every game, you go for 3 in 1-score games. Every other game's multiple score wins. Trey never even completed, or he only played 1 full SEC game. And then right before the season, we have a receiver and a running back that should be really star players in our system, end up being ineligible. So it's just been kind of a strange year. I always think about the Kentucky game. We forced the fumble and it bounces to them for the touchdown, or everything's different. So it is what it is. Strange year, strange things have happened, and the Trey injuries are really unfortunate.
Coach, you go into the half up 3 against a 2-win team. What do you tell your guys throughout the week, and especially at halftime, to not underestimate the opponent on the other side?
Yeah, it was good that we talked about that during the week because, sometimes, these guys, think, okay, well, the records would show we're just going to go blow them out, And so that's your job as a coach to teach them that it ain't going to necessarily go that way. And it hadn't gone that way in some of their games too. These guys hung around. Look at Texas right before half, Georgia, ends up being a 10-point game. So, and these guys had started fast on offense. So to think that you're just going to come in and blow them out because of the records. That just usually doesn't happen. And so it was good they were prepared for this to be tough.
Lane, I know you've had to answer a lot of questions this year about the ground game and then having 254 yards to go. Just what do you kind of make of that aspect of the offense today, and especially Ulysses Bentley stepping up with a 100-yard game and an 89-yard touchdown?
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, huge momentum play for that ball to break and him to make that play, and I was so happy for him and the team at that time. So, it's really good that you never know when it's going to happen, and like I said during the week, when we got all the questions about it, guy's been awesome, been a complete team guy, and then answered when his number was called today.
I guess on that note, 20 carries today, none against Florida. I guess what changed in between this week and last week to give him the workload?
Well, I just felt the pressure from you guys, like, where's that guy? Is he not here today? Oh, okay. So he complained about Bentley and he didn't show up. So, no. Different games are different, and this may not make a lot of sense to you. You play different people by styles of also the defense that you play and how you kind of think things are going to, evolve. And your matchups up front, and does it create space versus penetration? And so sometimes you go with different players, kind of like in basketball when people play different rotations and stuff. And then obviously when somebody hits one, like hits the long run, you're going to go back to him more.
Well, I know all throughout the season you talked about, this defense, specifically this defensive front, kind of being the game changer and, putting y'all into contending status. Half of their second half yards came on basically one play. It seemed kind of fitting that, their final possession just ended with a goal line stand after being tested early, especially those one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, I think those plays right there was kind of like the game a little bit. We're giving up these deep balls, go routes, which is what Levy throws a bunch of. And we give up a deep one onto the slot down to the one, but we don't break. We stop them after that. So the defense has done that a lot this year. Given up some explosive plays, but then we've answered the call and a number of times kind of in the second half, maybe like Oklahoma game here, where we give up some early and then we shut it down in the second half, and really they score their 14 points in the last play of the first quarter, so they don't score again for the next 3 quarters.
Anything else for Coach?
I was so excited that I put her to sleep. All right, thanks guys.